are these two: the phone verification, which is the integration between our system with MNOs for phone validation and verification of ownership. Also, we have the data lookup, which is the farmer data lookup. This is the integration that we are talking about, the one that is facilitating the verification of future beneficiaries and those on FSP. Yes. So basically, the integration is so simple. I'm running it. Just give it a bit of time for it to read. It's a bit slow. Okay. So this is the integration that has been created between the two systems, ZMIS and FSP.
The challenge PS myself, I'm not even seeing anything. I can't say anything.
You are not seeing clearly.
Nothing. Not even one word.
Okay. So this is the integration that has been developed between ZMIS and FSP from the community development. So this is the lookup. This is the farmer data lookup. So like these, the yellow ones, if you can see the yellow ones, this one and the other one and this one, these are work in progress. We need to complete them in the next season. So the only integration that has been made is this one, FSP. Benefited in FSP. If you look up that beneficiary here, it will say no or yes whether benefited. Equally the same on the side of ZMIS, it will okay. Let me just pick up one NRC. Back again. Okay, so from here there are two entities that have been integrated. The CFAs yet to be integrated, the CFAs and the FPF, but in our case it's a FSP that is the one we are presenting. So here you just say as a person benefited from FSP, if you say yes, then you run the query, then it will bring out those that have benefited from FSP. See this record, yeah, these records, it will bring out these records, So now if you want to really verify that these people have not have benefited on both, you can simply go to this record, you pick up the NRC, which is this one, then go to what we call farmer tracking. Whether that person has redeemed for inputs. So I'll put NRC here, then I'll search for this record. So as you can see, this is the farmer tracking status. It will show that this person didn't even deposit, didn't even pay insurance, meaning that he has never benefited from the FSP. Yes. So also, if you want to know that this person has not benefited from, okay, he has not benefited from ZMIS, but he redeemed. Has he redeemed? No, he has not redeemed. He has also not redeemed from FSP. So basically, it's as simple as that. It's not a complicated system. I think my colleague can come in as well.
And since we are dealing with Ministry of Community,
yes,
also submission from Ministry of Community IT, how we are working. Madam members, we ask them after they do the presentation, both of them, so can hold on to your questions.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. From the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services, we did yesterday that the implementation of the FSPM is in progress. For implementation of the our target benefit 40,000. So to onboard 40,000 beneficiaries for the wetlands, we registered 60,000 beneficiaries. And after the integration with the ZIAMIS, we were able to see that those that are on the FSIP and therefore not eligible for to be on the wetlands program, we were able to find 5,190 out of the 60,000 that we registered. And I must indicate that it means therefore we are not eligible to be placed on. So from the Ministry of Agriculture is before we onboard beneficiaries to be on the program, it helps us check whether that particular beneficiary is already on FSIP. So we can be able to register them even if they're on FSIP, but it will not allow us to put them when we found that they are on the FSIP. That benefit those that benefited on the ZIAMIS, and I've said yes, it will allow me to have the names of all those that are on the FSIP, and therefore who should not be eligible. It also helps us. I'm seeing 5,000 because we are seeing national level, but the people that implement these in the districts, they only see those that are applicable to them, so which means very few records, maybe 50 or 40 on average. So we can be able to see the details on what that beneficiary is. So we see that this beneficiary on our program is Agnes Kambunga. We can also see what their details are on FSIP and what has happened. So it shows us that there is a slight difference. Agnes Kambunga on FSIP, but the beneficiary has deposited, benefited, and has already even redeemed. So that's basically what it does. It checks even if the person is registered today on ZIAMIS, because this is a live integration, they will not be allowed to be registered on the program. So basically that's what it means. Now, like for us, for FSP, we use automatic selection of beneficiaries based on meeting of all the eligibility criteria. So one of them it will check, it means it will automatically check if you're on this FSIP for that season, you will not be included on the program. All the 40,000 that we are that are on the beneficiary list were not on the FSIP because we were able to check directly with the FSIP database. We have invited, and when we go back through the office of the PS, we will invite the auditors for a more detailed review of how this system helps us to prevent onboarding beneficiaries that have already been put on a program. So it's on a first come first serve basis. If they are joining FSP first, FSIP, as my colleague indicated, will not allow them to include, because when they check, they'll find that they are already on our program. If they have been onboarded on FSIP, and it's us onboarding after FSIP, we will not be able to onboard. So basically, this is how the integration has been implemented. Chair, I submit.
Thank you so much. Honorable members, we can elevate to questions. Honorable Lumai. Director, you can switch off your mic.
Thank you, Madam. PS listening to both directors for IT you agree with the committee that the responses by the ministry referring to the system are not correct, because from their explanation it would appear things are okay, but this report from page 1 up to page 30 something, we have serious challenges to do with the system, getting that twice, farming inputs, and also, Madam Chairperson, the question I have for the IT department, this system which you have just run through the committee, for how long has it been working?
Honorable Mwamba.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, my order on the irregular inclusion of beneficiaries above 19 years of age. IT also be how they look at age. When somebody reaches 19, does it automatically knock them out, or they continue on the system? How is that issue handled? The 19 years old and child-headed households. So from the system, how does it knock out when a person is no longer qualified? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you for that demonstration. It gives some level of comfort that we are heading somewhere. However, as many systems and as we have seen so many findings in the ministries, most of the findings have to do with laxity on the part of the human beings who are supposed to do what the system is capable of doing by simply commanding. So I wanted to find out the level of training, because this is decentralized. It's happening in the districts, not at national level. So that next year we don't sit here and start hearing explanations like the officer responsible who should have checked forgot to do it. What level of training, how much training, or how prepared are your officers on the ground by way of being oriented and trained in this system, so that we don't come and hear excuses of now a human being just being lazy or not knowing what to do with the system in their particular district, and hence mistakes repeating themselves. I submit.
Thank you. Please, you can respond to the 3 questions. You start with Honorable Umai's question. When did the system start?
The system, I would have to check the IT, but we've actually implemented it this year for the wetlands program, as it was the director IT explained. And we did the wetland immediately after the rains, so I should expect it must have been about April, May. And that is why the audit that we're looking at is actually historical. This system was not active then. On the issue of child-headed category, this was a human error. They were misclassified, but they were still poor and vulnerable. So what happened is they actually still qualified to be on the program. So they were then correctly classified, because yes, we do have a category for child-headed households. We have, just as we have one for persons with disabilities. So with the child-headed household, there is no financial implication when a child is misclassified. In this instance, these were actually adults, but they were still vulnerable and viable farmers, so we reclassified them. Honorable Mwila, on the orientation and training, we have actually been running 2 parallel systems where we still have the manual and we are training the staff. They've all been oriented, they've all been trained. And we are doing everything we can as a ministry to ensure that capacity has been built, that everybody is comfortable with the system. But I'm sure you will be aware that with 116 districts, and it's quite possible that there may be a district where somebody is not up to speed with the program, but we are going to continue training. It's a continuous process. That is the situation. They have been oriented and they've been trained, and they're very comfortable with the tablets that they're using. It's a live system. I submit.
Honorable Mike.
PS, the committee yesterday decided to have the IT department arising from the main queries in this report. When you go to Lumezi, you had 130. You go to Chipata, you had 286. Come to page 5. You come to Sinda 92, Katete 74, Chasef 996, Namwala and others. Now, among the challenges your ministry has, you referred us to the systems which are not good. And I've just made a submission that actually you have manual system and electronic system. Hence, I posed the question to the IT department. When did this system start working? The one which they're just from running us through. And you have told this committee that it just started this year, according to your submission. So, IT department, is it your submission that this electronic system hasn't been there from 2023, 2022, 2021? And the PS also, you have told this committee that you also had the manual system. So you now need to help this committee understand where things went wrong manually. Because what we are talking about is people being included on the beneficiary list irregularly. Others also benefiting twice. The IT department has told this committee that it is impossible that is somebody who has already been picked by the system can benefit twice. And the Auditor General's report here is telling this committee that people were benefiting twice. So now the committee is at sea. So you can only help us to understand where your manual system went wrong. 2, if the electronic system started this year, what happened last year? Because according to us, we know that electronic system has been there for some time. So if you are now saying it just started this year, when? Because this audit report is for 2023.
PS. I think Honorable Mike, the submission from PS, if I heard her correctly, she said this integration system started this year under the wetlands. So and then the questions that we have are 2023, meaning they were not using it before May 2024. So whatever query is before May 2023, it's affected. They didn't have the system. They were using manual. Hence, we have such questions.
Madam Chairperson, that's what I've said. If they had the manual system, where did things go wrong? Because these numbers are too huge.
So, yes, you can respond to that question.
With the manual system, there was no integration between ourselves and Ministry of Agriculture and also with NAPSA. So if somebody wants to check, we actually had registers. The good thing is there are members of parliament who've actually had a look at the registers. It's actually a register. You fill in the beneficiary details by hand. And then you would actually be expected to then go to the agriculture camp and compare with their registers where they've also filled in by hand. And then that is where we actually then found that things were falling through the gaps, and we were getting a lot of queries. This system that has been developed has actually it's been a process developing it. We have had support from cooperating partners, both financial and technical support, because all of us have been concerned about these issues that have been arising. Because as you rightly put it, you can go from page 1 to page 39, and we're basically going to be talking about the same things. It's just a different setting, different names, but it's basically the same things. And one of we are actually saying we are stopping here. We are working on improving the electronic information that we have as a ministry. So it's also going to be a big push to have a social register so that we'll be able to have the information available even for people who are not on our programs but are on other programs, or we have not been able to update the onboard them because we don't have the funds. I submit.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. It's quite encouraging that at least we're getting somewhere. Going by the demonstrations from the two IT, I think getting somewhere. However, Madam Chairperson, I would like to take the PS to irregular distribution of farming input to beneficiaries under rain-fed and wetlands component. PS, this irregularity happened in 9 districts where 922 inputs were irregularly issued to some beneficiaries, causing a waste of expenditure amounting to 548,000, somewhere roughly there, instead of 559 beneficiaries under rain-fed, and 363 beneficiaries who could have come from under wetlands, but we had these 922 beneficiaries irregularly issued with inputs, of course depriving our vulnerable citizens. Controlling officer, the simple question that is coming from the committees: what disciplinary action did you institute against these district community development officers who failed the program guidelines?
Thank you. PS. My follow-up is from the IT officers. Does it mean that the 2024-2025 season we use the integrated system so that yes, we can respond to questions?
Honorable Daka, if you go to Appendix 5, we actually have charge letters for the officers who had failed to abide by the program guidelines.
Honorable Duck.
Madam Chairperson, I can only see 3 letters, and this happened in 9 districts. Where are the other disciplinary letters, controlling officer? It's only 3 letters issued to 3 individuals, and yet this happened in 9 districts. I submit, Madam Chairperson.
PS, can respond to questions. My question is just to confirm whether we use the system or not. With you. PS.
Director, IT.
IT through the PS, you can respond to
Just
questions.
explain the status on the emergency wetlands and what we're doing on the rain-fed.
Thank you, PS and Honorable Chair. In terms of using the system, we have indicated that it's work in progress. We started using it on the wetlands, and for the rain-fed, for this season, we will onboard We may also wish to demonstrate that we are preparing to cross-check. There is correspondence that has been going on between our Minister and Minister of Agriculture. We are ready to share the correspondence where we are cross-checking of these records between those that are on FSP and on FSIP. So for this year, beneficiaries that are on FSP will be onboarded on the system for the first time. I submit.
The second question from Honorable Daka. Direct Mike. Yes, who's supposed to respond to the question?
On the charge letters.
The Human Resource Director. Human Resource, you can respond to the question through the PS.
Thank you, Chair. There are 6 letters which were given to the officers. So from the 9, 6 were issued, and these letters were done by the supervisors in the various provinces and districts. And what is happening now is when it comes to disciplinary issues, the province now, because it's dual reporting, they report both to the ministry and to the provincial PS. So when these issues happen in the districts and in the provinces, the PS's offices in the provinces take it up. I submit.
Honorable Daka.
Madam Chairperson, we are referred to annex number 5.
5.
In fact, it's 5. The Madam Chairperson, in fact, the letters, disciplinary action letters, are on Annex 4. They are under Annex 4, not even 5. On 5, there's just the other charge letters.
I have them on 5.
They have them on 5, but
yeah.
Are then they are not 9. In fact, yes, Madam Chairperson, they are not 9 to correspond with the number of districts actually that were affected by the same query. So we would want to know what happened to the remaining 3 charge letters which were supposed to have been attached to Annex 5. I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Human Resource Director through the PS, what happens to the 3? Since in your submission you indicated the 9 districts.
Yes, Chair. On Annex 4, we have got 3 letters. And then on Appendix 4, we have got 3 letters. Then on the Appendix 5, we have got 6 letters. Okay. So what? I submit.
Okay, Honorable Daka.
It's confusing, Madam Chairperson, because I was going to the PS referred to Annex 5. Then I went to Annex 4. I saw 3 disciplinary letters. So which is which? Because Annex 4 and 5 are different attachments. Are they referring to the same query or what? But in the submission, the PS has referred us to Annex 5, which has only 6 letters. So we don't know. Is it your submission, PS, that you are changing, that both annexes are speaking to one query? I submit, Madam Chairperson.
PS.
It's on the irregular distribution of farming inputs. So this is Annex 4 is actually talking about the warning letters that were done. Just hold on, let me get some clarification from the Director of Finance.
So according to the documents, this Appendix 4, it's warning letters, meaning people are not yet charged. Then Appendix 5 is charge letters. So there are 2 different scenarios. So it means that other officers are not yet charged. They have just been given warning letters, and while the others, they've been charged. So is it the same issue? It's the same issue. Depending on the situations. Depending on the situation, and also depending on the supervisor also.
Madam Chairperson,
But that,
it's the same charge. It's the same offense, sorry. Why should others be charged whilst others couldn't be charged? Because we are talking about the same offense. And I think the guidelines are the same. Why should we segregate to say these can be charged, this one cannot be charged? That's what we're trying to drive toward. We're trying to drive to that here. PS, why is it that there was segregation under the same charge or the same offense that actually these two officers committed? I submit, Chairperson.
PS can respond that question.
It comes to the use of different supervisors. These are different districts reporting to different supervisors, and yes, it's the same guidelines, but depending on the circumstances, how the officer is able to explain what happened and how the supervisor looks at it. Because even the letters, it's not like it's a standard letter where it's word for word exactly the same thing. They are different. The wording is different. I submit.
Okay, progress. Honorable Daka, it's a human resource issue, so it depends on where you are and who is your supervisor also, and how the issue was done. So we go to page, I think the issue of integration is covered from, there's other questions. So we go to failure to recover produce payback from FSP, page 10. So if you can ask questions from there. Honorable Dak.
Controlling officer, could you elaborate on the collaboration between your ministry and the Ministry of Agriculture in distributing drought and pest resistant seed, and how this initiative has impacted on crop yield and the recovery rate amongst the beneficiaries? That's the first question. The second one is, has your ministry considered insuring FSP crops yield with a reputable insurance firm as a way of mitigating the negative impact of the affected beneficiaries, considering that most of these beneficiaries rely on a rain-fed approach instead of irrigation? I submit, Madam Chairperson.
PS can respond to 2 questions. Or you can redirect to the director in charge. Directors should help the PS.
On the issue of the seed and fertilizer that we issue on our programs, we do not collaborate directly with,
PS, if you are consulting from him, it means he has the answer, so let him respond.
I actually just want to get the name of the institution correct. It's under agriculture. We work with Zambia Agriculture Research Institute, and then there's the other institute that certifies seeds. So those are the ones that we work with. They provide us with all the specifications for the seeds that we're going to use as per district, and even for the fertilizer. And then they also go in and provide certification that our depots, that is what is being distributed. On the issue of insurance, we have been insuring with Zambia State Insurance. In the last farming season, we insured up to 100,000 farmers, and we have received a payout from State Insurance, Zambia State Insurance, on the farmers that were affected by the drought. I submit.
Honorable Mwira, you can connect even to the honorable members, failure to procure goods for distribution, procurement of equipment for communities, Mwinilunga district. Can go up to the honorable Mwira.
Chair, my question is on the recoveries, the reinvestment of the funds recovered from different communities. The finding is that over 3 million across different districts was not reinvested as per the requirement in the guidelines. Now, I've read the response that the funds were not adequate, so they just put the funds in the account, waiting for the amounts to be adequate enough to reinvest. So we'd like to find out, since also in the response you are saying in fact this account is joint and only the community can only reinvest the funds related to their own, though it's sitting in the joint account. So how much, if you were to isolate a community, how much is that which is being deemed as not enough to be reinvested in any activity? How small is that money? Because investments vary or differ. So to say the money was not enough, if it's not simply people not doing anything, because I don't think that it would be very good reason to say the money was not enough so we could not do anything. We simply let it sit in the bank account. Because even in the bank account, you can do a fixed deposit. So how small was this money if you break it down to communities as they deposited in the joint account, such that they could not do anything to reinvest and simply let the money lie idle in the bank accounts? That's
Thank
you, Madam Chairperson. It's a follow-up on the same. PS were a committee of facts, and you have submitted, PS, that you made recoveries through insurance, and this committee would want to appreciate that indeed recoveries were made through insurance. And do you have any documented fact that you can submit before this committee as evidence or proof that indeed we made recoveries through insurance? I submit, Madam Chairperson.
PS, there are 3 questions. You can allow your directors to help you.
Okay, I'll start with the reinvestment of paybacks. If you go to page 9, table 7, it will actually show you that Monze had 161,404 kwacha, Mwandi 96,464 kwacha, Chipata 1,995,895 kwacha, Lumezi 910,348. So this is what makes up the 3.1. For the purposes of using this money, according to our guidelines, it's up to the community. They decide. So if I'm going to give an example of Monze, if they say that the 161,000, they want to wait until they grow it, depending on what they want to get, we cannot impose on them that you have to use the money. We have an example of, what's this? Of a district in Eastern Province that actually bought a tractor, and the district wanted a particular brand. When the funds, the brand they wanted was actually the more expensive one, and they bought that one because that's what they wanted. So we cannot impose on them that, oh, they are cheaper tractors, you can go and buy a small one. So unless what actually speaks to what the community wants are the minutes of the meetings where they make these decisions. So we would need to look at those minutes to be able to arrive at what it is that they wanted. On the question of the insurance, yes, we do have records. Well, it's, I was checking with the Director of Finance if we have anything here with us. And I've been guided that we don't. But if you want to see that, yes, we can actually share that information with you. We can actually even share the information of the farmers that are going to benefit from this payout. I submit.
Honorable Mwira.
Thank you, Chair. PS, this finding of reinvesting funds is according to the guidelines that your ministry has developed, the 2019 guideline. And there are even several options of how the funds can be invested in livestock or beekeeping or fish farming, gardening, many others. So, for example, Monze, as you gave an example, 161, 404 for a group. I don't think this money can be said it's not enough to even do fish farming or even one pond or gardening, growing vegetables. If we talk about Chipata 1.9 million, how can 1.1 million be inadequate to do anything in terms of reinvestment? Based on your guidelines, it's actually the responsibility of your officers in these districts to sit with the groups and advise them. Because if I want to buy a tractor and I've got 100 kwacha, I can't simply leave it. You can even say, okay, you do this activity, it will earn you money until you grow to a level that you can now buy a tractor. But to keep the money in the account, earning nothing, is against your own guidelines, which you have advised. And it is the duty of your officers in the communities to sit with them and advise them that you can't just have all the big money all at once, but the little that you have, reinvest and grow it up to what you want to get. So what efforts are your officers in the communities doing to ensure that they constantly educate these communities, to ensure that reasons like the money was not adequate are not brought before this committee? Because money is never enough, it's never too little, it's never too big, as long as your ideas drive you to how you want to do it. Simply leaving the money in the bank account is actually against your own guidelines. I submit, Chair.
PS.
We'll continue engaging with the communities through the officers as we provide secretarial services. We also provide advice. We will continue engaging with them. I submit.
Thank you. Honorable Member can ask on the failure to procure goods for distribution.
Thank you, Chairperson. My question to the controlling officer would be that given the challenges in procuring of goats due to the scarcity and high demands in neighboring countries, what specific strategies has your ministry implemented to secure a stable and sufficient supply of goats for the Alternative Livelihood and Intervention Program, ensuring timely distribution to the beneficiaries? I submit, Chair. Thank you.
PS. And then after the PS responds, the Honorable Lungu should ask on procurement of equipment for communities in Mundunga district. Yes, you can respond to the question on procurement of goats. Fair. What strategy are you putting in place? That was the question.
Honorable, can you please repeat the question?
Honorable.
My question is on the procurement of goats. What strategies you have put in place following the scarcity of the supply of goats for this particular program?
We actually are just widening what type of livestock people can. Some people are now looking at fish farming. We have ducks, we have chickens. But when a community still wants to buy goats, we still then look at goats. In this particular instance, the goats were able to be procured, although it was now at a later date. And also we adjusted the number of goats that they could actually get because of the pricing. But I've actually heard what you've said, and we'll sit down with community development and see if they can come up with a strategy because we have situations where we do persons from within the community. So maybe we can devise a strategy against getting goats, around getting goats.
PS, from a submission of saying you sit down the officers to come up with a strategy, meaning that you are doing these programs without a strategy. My understanding is that government is putting in resources, and the idea is to empower our people economically. So before you give out the resources, government resources, you need to have a viable strategy in place so that when you are giving, you know that something will come up, we will empower your people. And like, because I have such programs in our constituents where people were given money. I think we have a program, one is it jewelry. When you ask them, they have nothing. Meaning people were given money or maybe goods without the ministry doing a research that is this project viable in this area. It needs to change the lives of people. It's not just a matter of having records that we gave goods, we gave maybe money to this community, but what is it that is coming out of the community? Has it changed the lives of people in that community? Because my understanding is that whatever we are giving out as government, it has to change the people, the lives of people economically. But if we don't have a viable strategy in place, then what are we doing as a ministry or as a government? Honorable Ma'am. I saw your hand. Okay. Okay. Honorable Lungu, I gave you a question on procurement of equipment. Honorable Daka.
Madam Chairperson, I would like to take the PS to irregularities in the supply of farmer inputs. We have a situation here, Madam Chairperson, where our scientists at Zari, they developed a variety which was suitable for a certain region in Zambia, which is Southern Province and Eastern Province. And yet, the suppliers that were engaged to supply the aforesaid seed varieties, which were taking into account climate change that we're currently experiencing, supplied something else which doesn't suit the aforementioned provinces. PS, we want to find out as a committee, the first question, why did your ministry allow these suppliers to supply what wasn't prescribed for these two mentioned provinces? Because this led to loss on the side of government. I'm sure you have seen what's happening as a country with regard to climate change. So our scientists have come up with the suitable varieties, but the suppliers that were engaged to supply the aforementioned seed varieties supplied to the contrast. Want to find out, why did you allow this situation to prevail in your ministry? That's the first question. I stand there, Madam Chairperson, as of now.
PS. It is under this project proceeds to help the PS. Which director? To do with the seeds. Is it director community? You know, the PS, the question comes back to my submission where I said you are giving out resources without doing maybe a research of what is required in that area. It's the same as giving out the seeds. You are giving the seed to a long place, because that's why we have people like from Ministry of Agriculture who should give you the information that in this particular area we have this type of soil which was tested and it can only qualify under this type of seed. So if we are just giving out seeds without testing the soil or having the results from that area, it's not helping our people. So this is the question Honorable Daka is asking. So if you can redirect the question to the relevant officer in charge of that program. We have a lot of officers.
Yes, Madam.
Honorable Daka, switch off the mic. PS can respond.
Okay, on this one, I think we've actually been going back and forth with the Auditor General's office, and that is why it has actually ended up here. The Germination Monitoring Activity Report that they're basing this query on is something that is prepared by the officers. I want to submit that as a ministry, we do work very closely with Zambia Seed Control and Certification Institute before the delivery to beneficiaries. They are the ones who actually tell us which seeds we should actually put in our solicitation documents. And they actually certify, even when the seed gets into the district, that this is the right seed. So even for this, we actually have the seed certificates that are from the Zambia Seed Control and Certification Institute, which is an institution under Ministry of Agriculture. And for the auditors, unfortunately, they have not given us a copy of their analysis of the soil or the seed, which we can then go back to the people who provide this professional service for us. As a ministry, I will submit that we work with the institutions under Ministry of Agriculture, that we do have certificates for this. And since there is a contraposition, we would be helped going forward if they can share the certificates that they have to show that this is the wrong seed. I submit.
Honorable Duck, it's a follow-up question.
Yes.
PS, I'm sure before you can process payment, you will normally ensure that the right commodity has been supplied. And as a committee would want to find out what informed you to make payments with regards to this wrong seed that was supplied. Because for you to make payment, which means there's supportive documentation which is supposed to be attached to the claims from the aforementioned suppliers. In this case, we're talking about AfriSeed and the Steward Global Limited company, who are perceived, who are quoted, or who are cited by the Auditor General that they supplied the wrong seed. Because for the Auditor General to know that they supplied wrong seed, there was a point of reference. There's what they're referring to. There's this variety which is already developed, which they are mentioning. This type, the type AF638, that's the type of seed that was supposed to supply, and that's very specific about what was supposed to be supplied. So we want to find out as a committee what informed you to make payments to these two suppliers in the absence of verification that indeed they supplied the correct seed. And of which I understand the certificates and all these other things, they were supposed to be part of the documentation that would have justified your payments. So I want to find out, why is it that you didn't do what was supposed to be expected out of you prior to making payments to these two suppliers? I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Honorable Mamba.
Thank you, Chairperson. Controlling officer, farmers that were supported during the 2023-2024 season were negatively affected by poor seed germination as well as substandard fertilizer. Would you tell the committee what measures the ministry has instituted against the suppliers of these substandard inputs, which is the seed as well as the fertilizer? I thank you.
PS, you can respond to the questions.
Honorable Daka, I think what's this, the statement that the documentation when making payment was not in order would need to be maybe confirmed. I haven't seen anything to that effect, because the documentation was in order. What you're looking at when you're looking at a file, the GRNs, which I checked, the goods received notes, which are in order. And then we depend on the certification that is provided by institutions under Ministry of Agriculture. Honorable Mwamba, even the fertilizer is certified by ZARI. They provide certification. They provide us with the details of which fertilizer we should put in our solicitation document. And then they also provide certificates. Even at the point of delivery into our warehouses, they certify it. So those certificates are there. And I'm going to go back to the statement that I made, that maybe the Auditor General should show us their certificates where they say that this is the wrong fertilizer. Because do they have the chemical analysis of it, which they can share with us? And we take it from there.
AG, can you respond to this?
From the knowledge that I have, we have.
Which one, the mic?
From the knowledge that we have as Auditor General.
The mic.
From the knowledge that we have as Auditor General, we've got a report that was prepared by officers at the province, which is dated January 2024. It's a principal seed analyst that prepared it, Nambela Jenny, I think. That is where the query was based on. And then the aspect of seed certification, if you checked what is in the report, we asked for AF 638, but what has been attached in Appendix 11 is something else. I think that is the position that I can say the office can allude to. For the seed certification that is on Appendix 11, the seed certificates do not indicate even the person, the company that that certificate is issued for. And then what is indicated there as the variety, I think, after species, which is maize, and then there is the cut variant, which is GV638 instead of AF, I think 638. So I stand to be corrected whether the two are the same. I submit, Chair.
PS. But PS, if this question was attended to during the audit, if you had responded to the auditors, it was not supposed to come here, meaning the information was not given to the auditors. Honorable Duck. The challenge we have with our ministry is that you don't take audit serious. Some of these queries, they're not supposed to come here. If you cooperate with the auditors at ministerial level, you respond, you give them all the information. They will not include it in the submission. So progress, honorable members, will make a recommendation on the issue. Honorable Duck. Oh, sorry, Lungu. We got to poor seed generation, that's the one. Okay, we progress.
We're on a procurement of equipment for communities, Munulunga. Thank you, Chair. In Munulunga, there was funds that were allocated, 691,278, which were supposed to procure some 8 electrical and 4 diesel hammer mills. Out of this amount, as of 30th April 2024, the supplier paid amount totaling to 589,242, leaving a balance of 102,36 kwacha. Then maize sheller and electric hammer mill. Maize sheller 45,504, hammer mill 58,532 were procured. but were not paid for, despite having 102.36 kwacha. Why did you not pay cash on these two items, despite having a balance of 102.36 kwacha? I submit, Madam Chair.
PS, you can respond to that question. Members can ask other questions while the PS too. Thank you. Honorable Mwira.
Thank you, Chair. My question is on the unaccounted for inputs, which at the time of the audit, the inputs in Mongo and Kalabo amounting in total to 10.7 million. Documentation on the disposal or the disposal records were not made available to the auditors, but now I see that in your response you are saying the documents are ready and available for verification. So the question is, what happened? This is a huge amount, and where were the documents if they were not available during the audit and now being made available? Where were they, and how authentic are the records today after the audit had been completed? I submit.
PS, you can respond to two questions from Honorable Lungu and Honorable Mwira.
For the procurements that are done by our officers in the districts, they actually make use of the procurement committee in the town councils or in the local authorities. So for this particular one, my understanding is this balance was supposed to be for the transportation of the equipment once it was purchased. That is for Honorable Lungu, who's asking about why there was a balance of 102. Because this would need this equipment would need to be transported to the various CWACs.
Do we have officers from Northwestern or Munilunga in particular here?
You want to? Okay.
Director? Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
What's your position?
I'm the Director Internal Audit for the Ministry. Julius Mwanza is my name. Just to augment the submission, I draw the attention of the committee to page 13. The submission of the ministry is that the funds in question were actually mocked by the Treasury, and thus it was difficult for us to make the payment for the transportation. We have evidence on the file showing that the funds were subsequently made available and that we did make the payment, and the equipment in issue was collected and handed over to the CWACs. There is evidence at Appendix 9, Chair.
Appendix 9.
Yes.
So, PS, you can respond to the question from Honorable Mwira.
The Director of Finance will answer this.
Thank you, Chair. When we got on the ground with our communities, was that some of the documentation to account for the inputs had been misfiled. And the other thing was that some files were being moved from one office to the new office that they had, which they were stating to us. So really it wasn't a good occurrence, but we told them that these things should be filed once the inputs are accounted for, rather than keeping documentation in separate locations. I submit.
Honorable Mwira, follow-up question.
Thank you, Chair. This finding is affecting two districts, distinct districts, Mungu and Kalau, the same amount. So, does that explanation apply to both of them? It's very strange that, even if people are shifting, they're not shifting far from, it's within the district, maybe from one building to another. So, Please give us the reasons for the respective districts. In Mungu, what led to the documents not being available throughout the audit period up to the time the auditors were in the field? They didn't find the documents. They gave you the DAP. You saw this finding. Still the documents could not be found. Now you have to end up here on this committee when you are saying the documents have not been found. Did they go missing throughout? Even the time you were reviewing the draft report, documents could not be found. There must be different cases or reasons for each of them. In Mongo, tell us what happened. In Kalabo, tell us what happened. And how authentic are the documents that have emerged now, long after the audit had finished?
I've seen a hand from internal auditor, so internal auditor can help. However, I will not check on the documents as because they are not verified by Auditor General. So I just want to be given a reason why the documents were not given to the auditors at the time of audit, internal audit.
Thank you very much, Chair, once more. The explanation that my colleague, the Director of Finance, has given partly addresses the situation in Kalabo and the situation in Mongo. Particularly for Mongo, Chair, what transpired is actually obviously regrettable. It is not something that we should even be discussing. But what happened was that at the material time, the office is manned by 3 persons. There are 2 assistants and a substantive district officer and a secretary. At the time that the auditors had visited the station, 1 officer was on maternity leave, 1 was admitted in the hospital, 1 was out in the field. So the arrangements were made to collect the documents from the secretary who was manning the station at the time. And in the course of submitting the documents, she omitted to avail 2 registers to the auditors. And as a result, those two registers were then reported as unaccounted for. And those registers were subsequently made available for verification by the auditors. That is the submission, Honorable Chair. Thank you.
That was for Mongo. What about Kalabo? It's the same.
Actually, the submission that my colleague director.
Kalabo is the one they were shifting offices.
They were misfiled.
Misfiled.
Yes, Chair.
Honorable Wamnyima. I think this case of Mongo, we had the same issue in Ministry of Western Province, eh? Yeah. Almost similar submission, yes.
Chair, thank you very much. Apologies, I was attending. I think through you to the PS, I think the officers must take audit serious. I've quickly perused through these unverified documents. There's you can't tell whether they were made now. No stamps, no. I mean, so if and the audit process, it takes time. It's 3 months. It's not like rapture in the twinkling of an eye. 3 months, the guys can't find documents. Then they bring them to this committee. And we don't know when you are saying they want to be verified. They can't be verified because now this is appearing in the Auditor General as a query. A report which is before Parliament and submitted to the Executive. It's already a query. So we implore you to ensure your officers take this serious. Audit takes over a period of 3 months. They can't see available documents to the Public Accounts Committee, so that we should do what? We can't verify them. When you look at them yourself, PS, you can even type them on an Excel sheet and present them. So, I mean, we can't accept this. Going forward, there must be some seriousness.
Honorable members, any questions? We'll go to page 14. These are almost similar questions. Maybe we go to lack of ICT strategic plan. That's page 20. In between, they're the same questions. Lack of ICT strategic plan. Honorable Mwamba.
Chair, I just wanted to quickly ask a question on payments to beneficiaries without disability cards or certificates. So now that the disability cards have been made available, is it possible that the committee can be informed about the current situation in terms of the 428 beneficiaries that have been given disability cards? Are all of these beneficiaries eligible to receive FSP? I submit, Chair.
Yes, maybe let me also use this opportunity to ask another question in relation to payments. PS, we have beneficiaries who would receive, maybe we say June, July, they will receive the social cash transfer. Then come August, September, they are saying you are not on the system, they are not being paid. What causes that? We have such situations in our constituencies. People are not being paid, but there is someone will tell you that June, July I received, but August, September I was not paid. PS. Some as late as last year, they received maybe whether it was November, December, until today they are not paid anything. Director social cash transfer. That's your question. We have director social cash transfer. Yes. Help the PS. That's your issue. Social fair. Yes. Social fair. Where is he or she? Sir, help us. It's the same question from Honorable Mwamba. Can you respond to the two questions?
Thank you so much, Chair. Disability cards. I think our response is on page 20, where we're saying that, first of all, it was regrettable that the auditors observed that the disability cards in question were not availed to them for verification. So the cause to this, as we have stated there, is that the records was due to the fact that the district officers were receiving the physical copies of the cards from the affected beneficiaries in order to update the ZSPs. So we're in the process of updating our ZSPs, because these cards are carried by the PWDs themselves. So normally when the payments are made, we normally make copies. But if the facilities for making copies are not available, the cards are retained with the owners. But however, we have done a correction on this, and the disability cards are now available for audit verification. Then on the issue of the payments, where some people miss out in the gate.
Okay, before you respond to the second question, there's a follow-up question from Honorable Ma'am. Switch off your mic, Director Social Welfare.
Chair, the disability cards are now available for audit verification. We are sitting in here, and under Appendix 13, there is nothing.
It's in a box. Where's the box? They're in a box.
Here it's just blank.
That's it.
So maybe they can be submitted for audit verification. Thank you.
So those are for auditors, not for us. So, Director, you can respond to the two questions, to the other question that I asked. Why is it that you got my question?
Yes,
yeah, you can respond to it.
So the issue of missing payments actually could be explained from maybe a number of angles. One is that we pay bi-monthly, I'm sure
yes,
you are aware. But for 2020, this year in particular, we have had this 2020.
Speak through the mic, because we are being recorded.
Okay. For 2024, we have had challenges in terms of being on course in terms of payments. We were supposed to pay in the second week of every bi-monthly, but the physical space and environment would not allow because of challenges that we are facing in terms of mobilizing these resources.
No, that's not my question. My question is, I'm a beneficiary. I was paid in June, July. Then August, September, I'm not being paid. My payment is not coming through. That is my question. What causes this, and where is my money going to? Because we have these questions on the ground as members of parliament, and in Chikankata it's very common. Wherever you go to have a meeting, that question will come. Honorable, I have not received the past 4 months, but my friends have received. And you even ask the other beneficiary, they will say, yes, because in the community, especially in the rural area, they know each other. They will even know that our friend has not received. So now, if I had received the past 6 months, what has happened to my money in between, and why is it that I'm not receiving? Who gets that money? That's my question.
That sounds like something very irregular. It's actually not supposed to happen, because you should only not receive your money if you are removed from the program. And for you to be removed from the program, it has to come all the way to headquarters. We have grievous redress mechanism system, but unfortunately most of our people are not able to use it, because you are supposed to then write and put a complaint in a box. But what should happen with this is we are going to have to ask all of you if you can document that and make sure that that information gets to the head office, because we should be able to follow up and give you an explanation as to where your money is sitting.
So, but the challenge, PS, in the rural areas, we are talking of old-aged people who don't even have information, but they are beneficiaries. And the officers in the district, they have that information, because I remember 2 months ago, I approached the officer there. They said maybe it was the issue of phone numbers. You'd find that the phone number and the number, they are not matching. But I said, why is it that if this person had received, what has changed in between? What has happened to the phone number? And when you ask the beneficiary, he's using the same number. So my question is, that money that I was supposed to receive for the 4 months, where has it gone? If my name is worked upon, am I going to receive in arrears? If not, who is receiving that money? These are the questions on the ground, and it's very common. Yes.
There's someone sitting behind you who wants to answer this question. Is the one who runs the system.
So you can come to the front and sit. Even this chair, you can use it. You can respond. You mention your position.
Thank you, Chairperson. My name is Luasim Sambo, MI Specialist for the Social Cash Transfer. Now, there are a number of scenarios that may not make it possible for a beneficiary to receive their fund. Number one, a beneficiary is suspended from the program. Why is the beneficiary suspended? Maybe the district office is given information by the CWAX that this beneficiary is deceased, or the beneficiary has left the district. The district office will proceed to suspend that beneficiary and carry out an inspection or a monitoring to determine if the beneficiary is still available. Scenario number two, if you are getting your fund through a mobile network, for instance Airtel, I'll zero in on Airtel. Airtel opens what I referred to as SCT wallets for beneficiaries. Now, if you change your phone or you do fresh SIM registration, your wallet is deleted, meaning we cannot pay you on that number again. we have to re-register your wallet so that Airtel can open a wallet for you and you will get your fund. Number 3, you may not be able to receive your fund on your wallet if your PIN is blocked. So if your PIN is blocked, you will have to visit Airtel yourself, the owner of the SIM card, to activate the SIM card. So these are some of the scenarios that we have that may make it difficult for you to receive your digital payment. Thank you.
So your first scenario is disqualified from my question because the complainant is the beneficiary who is still in the district and is not a deceased. So maybe PS through your office, I think you need a lot of sensitization with these monies because people are not getting the money, and I know as government what we are trying to do is to help the people because of the issue of drought, the levels of poverty, to reduce hunger in the communities. But if the government is releasing resources and people are not benefiting, at the end of the day, it's these honorable members you see, they are suffering now to try to help out the community when government has provided the resources. So honorable members, we can move to lack of ICT strategic plan, page 20. Me, I go to the constituency every week. I've never met someone from your office in the field holding meetings because your ministry entails to be in the community most of the time. But I don't see them. They are seated in the offices. They are supposed to meet the old mothers in the village there by going around the community, not our grandparents to go to the offices. No, they can't. So we have to change the way we are doing business as a ministry. Honorable Daka.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Lack of ICT strategic plan, controlling officer. How does your ministry ensure that the investment in ICT is aligned with the business strategic objectives without an ICT strategic plan in place? Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
PS, you can redirect to the IT person.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. We did indicate in our response that the ministry has been relying on the ministerial strategic plan, where we have been providing for investment in ICT or digitalization of programs that are implemented in the ministry. We acknowledge the auditor's indication that the ministry needs a dedicated digital strategy, and we wish to submit that the ministry has since drafted a digital strategy as well as constituted a governance committee within the ministry comprising of the permanent secretary and the directors to be able to coordinate the agenda of digitalization within the ministry. We submit.
Honorable Dakin, follow-up question. Switch off the mic.
Madam Chairperson, the normal thing which the ministry is supposed to do is to align their own strategic plan with that of the, you said the, which strategic plan are you relying on?
The ministerial strategic plan, which guides the overall management of the ministry.
Okay. Chair, I will defer my question to you.
Okay. So, honorable members, due to time, I will allocate questions for you. Failure to develop a performance management framework, Honorable Mwira. Payments made at disability rate to beneficiaries not disabled, Honorable Mkumbi. Inconsistency in child-headed household criteria, Honorable Lungu. Delayed deposits of unclaimed funds into the district social welfare, Honorable Mwamba. Then double payment of education grants to household heads, Honorable Wamunyima. So failure to develop performance management framework. Honorable Mwira.
Thank you very much, Chair. Controlling officer, you stated that the failure to develop the performance management framework is that you have relied on the KPIs in the ministerial strategic and implementation plan. So, do you have any reports as evidence to indicate how the evaluation and performance of these systems have been conducted? Are there any reports to show how these have been conducted? I submit, Chair.
PS, can respond that question?
Director ICT can handle this. Please include the audits that we had from Smart Zambia.
Director ICT.
Thank you, PS. Honorable Chair, we have had independent evaluation of our digital assets within the ministry by Smart Zambia, and we will be able to avail the reports. These are the reports that actually led for the clearance for the operationalization of the systems. I submit.
Honorable Mwira.
So, Chair, as we have said before, if this information has been available, why was it not provided to the auditors? So that it doesn't end up on this table where we have to sit and spend time. How serious was the team in addressing this query? Because if that information was made available, I'm sure the auditors would have gone through and cleared this particular finding. We were people in the offices when the audit was happening, particularly referring to this finding. I submit.
Internal audit, I've seen you through the PS. Can you respond?
Thank you, Chair. Admittedly, the queries that we have before us are deeply regrettable. Like the honorable member said, we are not supposed to spend time actually to be discussing these issues. And admittedly, there's opportunity for the ministry and the auditors to work closely in terms of the managing the audit process so that some of these issues can be addressed before they actually escalate. And I think we hope that we'll have more closer and deeper engagement with the auditors to manage the audit process so that we can avert the recurrence of such matters, Honorable Chair. Thank you.
Internal audit, I've seen your submissions. There are more on your interventions to regret. Even the other query you are regretting. I think that's not your role. Your role is to help the ministry. You work like a consultant in the ministry to advise the officers with the PS that when auditors are on the ground, they have to be involved. And like giving us regrets here. No. Like the honorable member said, most of the queries under Ministry of Community, if the officers were engaged, we're not supposed to come to Paki. But you are not interested. So we don't want regrets, we want responses. Honorable members. Honorable Mkumbi.
I think I'm on page 23.
Yeah.
Payments made at disability rates to beneficiaries not disabled. What happened here, controlling officer? That's number one. Number two, you have indicated that the cards were not available at the time of audit. Now they are available. Where were these documents during audit? I believe these are government documents that are supposed to be kept in a government office. Auditors definitely didn't go to a particular individual's home, but they went to an office where these documents are supposed to be. So where were they during audit? Chair, I submit.
Yes, same question. Why were the cards? Honorable Mkumbi, switch off your mic.
they were being retrieved just then. Thank you, Chair. At the time when the, sorry. Chair, our explanation to this particular situation regarding the 72 million was that we were updating our Zambia Integrated Social Protection Information System. And to update this system, we needed to retrieve these cards from PWDs so that we harmonize them with our system. That is why this number of cards were not available at the time that the auditors were looking for them. And this is the box that we are referring to, that it is available now, and it is available for ready for verification and audit.
You can walk outside and switch off your light phone. Continue, Director, social question.
Yes, I'm done, Honorable, and I submit.
Honorable Mukumben, follow-up question.
Chair, the response is not in, your response is not in the report. Yes. You are simply saying, we regret that at the time of audit, the cards in question were not availed. So, I asked a simple question. They're supposed to be kept somewhere, in the field or whether they are at the district office. They cannot be kept in someone's home, but a government premises, definitely. So auditors did not go to individual homes, they were in government institutions. So even if they were taken somewhere for verification, they were still within the ambit of government. So what happened? You know why we're asking these questions? If you go through your appendices here, I was looking at somebody who was drafting something just like Honorable Wamnyima asked here, Northwestern. You can even tell that this was just sat under a tree and started feeding in this and brought them in. In fact, we are very lucky today. We are in same handwriting, same signature. We've even seen my name appearing there. It's not right. I'm from Northwestern. I've gone through those names. There are people I know and people I don't know. But some people I know, they don't even sign. But they're appearing there. Yeah, they
bring out the issue.
No, it was asked and it was, I think, responded to. But you can tell, Chair, on appendix
maybe under normal circumstances, this is a very unacceptable submission from your ministry PS. It's full of regrets. Your officers, they don't care about audit. And we the members of 24/7. I am not on this. I was paid, and auditors nowhere to be seen. Seriously, here they want to now bring information here. You must charge them. The buck stops with you. You can't have officers who don't take audit serious, because this big report you've brought here, PS. You are not supposed to be here on these issues. These issues must end at the process. Officers must respect audit. By bringing so much for us to go through, shows to us that with the officers at community, they don't care about audit. And we're looking at so much money we're appropriating for social programs. We are accepting your submission with difficult. We can tell you that with great difficulty.
Chair, if you look at appendix 2 there, look at the person, this person who was just filling in this form there. Supposed to be reported to the police, actually. This is forgery, actually. Same handwriting. You can even tell I'm a layman, but you can even tell the Y's and all that are the same. Signing and fingerprints, and we know some of these people. We know some of them. We're coming from these constituencies. Where were they during audit? So this person just sat under a tree and wrote this thing and submitted here. Chair, I submit.
Thank you, Honorable. PS, Honorable Duck.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. PS, from your response, it indicates that this update that you are undertaking, because we have submitted that was the reason behind not having these physical hard copies in place at the time when they were needed. Does it mean that these activities were unplanned? Because to me, it looked to have been a planned activity. And if it was a planned activity, which means a strategic plan B could have been put in place to ensure that it insulates the problem that we are now facing. There's no way you can say that we couldn't have these cards basically because we're updating a system. Where was the plan B? So Madam Chairperson, it goes back to being unserious with regards to audits. There's no response whatsoever here that the committee can take. I don't know, maybe if we give the controlling officer we give her a chance to plan, maybe give us a befitting response, not what is being submitted. Maybe, Madam Chairperson, let's give her a chance. I submit.
Yeah, PS can respond to questions.
The Director of Social Welfare will respond to this.
Maybe before he responds, Director of Social Welfare, were you the one who was there in 2021 at the Ministry of Community, the same capacity?
No.
When did you go to the ministry?
2022.
2022. It's almost the same. It's the same. It's 2023. Because I was going through the cards that Honorable Mkom, because for sure I can see that it's an individual who sat doing the signature, which it's a criminal case, PS, yes. So you have to follow these issues from Northwestern Province. Whoever is involved there, yeah, you have to bring your officers on. This is the reason I asked the PS in my question. It's not an audit question, but it came from me where I said the money which is supposed to be paid to me in the past 4 months, who gets it? These are the ideas that people do on the ground and eat people's monies and come up with wrong information. And government is struggling to organize resources to help its people. Director, social welfare, yes.
Yes, Honorable Chair. Actually, the monies, as the IT specialist explained, if the payments fail, the money are redeposited.
No, you are not responding to my question. Respond to the question from Honorable Dak. Me, I was just like highlighting the PS that this is why I came up with that question, because of these activities in the districts. So now respond to the questions that there was a question from Honorable Mukumbi and Honorable Dak.
Or that we should have had a plan B.
Yes.
For the disability cards when we are upgrading
Yes.
the system. Yeah.
When honorable members are asking questions, officers, you have to pay attention because you are the ones in charge of these departments, not the PS. The PS is just there as a controlling officer. When she fails to respond, you are supposed to come in. So meaning when they're asking questions, you have to pay attention so that when the PS gives you an opportunity, you respond accurately.
Oh, sorry, Honorable Chair, may my officer respond? I think he has a more detailed.
You also have an officer.
Yes, sir. Yes, madam.
I thought the PS was the one in charge. So who is that one? A financial management specialist. Can you help the PS?
Thank you very much. The issue of disability cards, Honorable Chair, keeps on coming. Maybe because of the design of the cards. What is on the ground is that we have a very, very big book, and then we issue the disability cards to our persons with disabilities. Then we remain with a copy at the district office. So these are bulk copies that we have brought in those boxes. It's it's not a good idea that at the time that auditors are there, they are not availed. So what we have done.
Lift your mic. Lift the mic. Yeah.
So what we have done, Honorable Chair, is that in absence of the disability cards, there are those affidavit forms that are embedded into the social cash transfer guidelines. So most of those which are not available, we have to ask the districts to either go to the nearest hospital for certification or go to the nearest court to have those affidavits done, so that the persons with disabilities can have those records. So at the moment we have them, and they are in those boxes for audit verification. I think maybe probably we need to introduce cards which are more tangible and can stand the test of time. I submit, Chair.
The issue here was the issue of verification. Even if they're in boxes, why didn't you give the auditors when they came on the ground? No, then you bring them here. The auditors were at the ministry, but you are able to bring the same cards to Parliament. Meanwhile, you failed to give the auditors when they came to your offices. That was the query. So, honorable members, progress. Ministry of Community is not giving us the befitting answers. We'll do some recommendations on some of these issues as a committee. Honorable
Chair, in making progress, Chair, we take interest in the submission, Appendix 2. It has to be well verified by those that protect the public funds. And take interest as a ministry also. Report this matter to the police. If not, we shall do it on your behalf. But take interest in this matter. A very serious matter, where you have somebody properly writing their name, Fabi everywhere, and they can't have a signature.
We'll do one of the recommendations Honorable Mkubi will do as a committee.
Sure.
Yes. So progress, Honorable Lungu. Inconsistency in child-headed household. What was the question? That was your question, eh?
Yes, Chair. According to the SIT guidelines, one of the eligibility criteria for ST program, the house headed by individuals below the age of 19 years qualify as a child-headed household. A review of the ZIC reviewed that after examining household who passed the prox means test PMT, 5 households where the heads were below 19 years of age had the child-headed household criteria incorrectly set. This inconsistency in data entry led to the incorrect classification of eligible households. My question to PS controlling officer, the ZISPIS system had application control deficits which had caused serious challenges during the time they were doing enumerations of beneficiaries. Now that it was like that, as a minister, what measures have you put in place to ensure that the
engineer?
you, Chair. Registered maybe 19 and below, but they can be registered within the critically ill, disability, female headed, etc. So there's nowhere where we have that rule, the social cash transfer guidelines. Thank you.
Agent. The question is consistent. So maybe the repeat that statement you get.
All right. Thank you, Chair. So I stated that I have the social cash transfer guidelines with me. This is the current guideline that we in that category. An individual may be 19
or
that
maybe
being the case, right? And then
so we can progress.
Are those guidelines shared with the Auditor General or during audit?
Engineer, through the PS, if the auditors came up with a question, were you there to guide them? Because they are not going to write this query. Did you share with them the guidelines?
Auditor General's copies.
Okay, honorable members, let's progress. We'll come back to it. Let's. I've seen AGs doing something there. They'll come back to it. Let's go to the next. Where's honorable member?
Much affected because they depend on genuine analysis to implement their programs. Social gas transfer, which we now, in your response, you are waiting for this to implement the integrated national registration information system. But for your information, Ministry of Home Affairs have suspended this program due to budgetary constraints. So it may not be something that will be done anytime soon. Meanwhile, you continue to deal with people with NRCs that are duplicated. So I'd like to find out what other options, what's your plan B? Because this INRIS program is not coming to end, is not coming up. You is that you may end up paying more than one person, or you may end up paying the same person more than once. Meanwhile, there are a lot of people out here in the community who have been left out because of budgetary constraints, who genuinely need to be on the program. How are you getting around this issue of duplicated NRCs so that you have one beneficiary, one NRC, and you for Chair?
Thank you. Honorable Daka.
Chair, just to come in of cash of this threshold by pay point managers to the main pay point managers. PS, are these withdrawals limited to service provider? The large cash withdrawals by the pay point managers, has the payment service provider service agreement or contract attached addressed the large cash withdrawals by the pay point managers? And the last question, what other strategies has the ministry put in place to ensure the security risks associated with the carrying of I submit.
They'll simply say, I had this analysis that we find ourselves with the 11,000. So this is a major step we have undertaken to correct the issue of shared and duplicated NRC information system, a unique ID beneficiary. And in the process of trying to see if unique ID can be used, we can refer for unique identification and separation of all the beneficiaries of the program. Submit.
Thank you.
One withdraw per day. Now you find that when the auditors come through, they find that they have gone above the threshold.
Continue.
We are with the PSP's service agreements.
Thank you, Chair. Like the transfer value has increased, and this means this will grow and get this particular assignment. The reason why that contract was added, when reduce in transfer services in
delayed deposits of unclaimed funds into district social controlling officer. that these funds were eventually deposited. Controlling why for such long of the social is that
Sure. Yes. The honorable member here has asked, dated the 24th May 2021, one in November 2020. You can draw as much as you want in a given day, as long as they're not. I don't, you're splitting. You go on with these seculars. Why is it only happening in Rusaka, Chongwe, Funsa, and basically in Lusaka province only? Why not? On this the ministry put across. Share some.
Is it Director of Financial Management? Honorable Mukumbi. Before the let's finish with the one from Honorable Mukumbi. Honorable Lungu.
Thank you very much, Chair. The second
Honorable Mukumbi.
Don't mislead the committee, sir. Yes, there's Chongwe. You need to phone. It's not.
Hey, it's out. then actually
This back. There's something wrong with it.
Taka.
Thank you. It's not one person. Of we had to. Yes. So and these have deputies. So this is a lump sum collecting all the paypoint managers in the same particular scenario. So we are not talking about a person drawing 1 million in a day. No.
Were given and evidence was given to the audit. Of audit has failed to provide this information, because if you are saying it's per transaction, point managers are actually speaking to the secular. So we want to find out as a committee, why is it that officers don't? There's no way we can explain this. I submit, Madam Chairperson.
And where is your attachment for what you're explaining? Because what should happen? Auditors did not find it. This you did a query. Point managers under strong way exceeding the maximum threshold shown in table 18 below. So this exceeded the maximum threshold. That was a response that it are not cumulatively. That's fine. So
shows special sanction by evidence of
Thank you very much, Chair. Given a consolidated, if you say 102, it can draw one.
Didn't you give the auditor that audit, and they are not supposed to reflect it? That let's go Honorable,
Sir, if we rent you out for 5 minutes or 10, to pay for about. You see, this committee can also be tough. We'll send you out. Call
this that you are ready to defend wrong doings by your officers from the districts. If you don't, we don't have. Because these are coming from the district. So what is the issue with tell us you these? Yeah. Call the officers from the district to give you the and submit to the auditors in that
The underlying issues are that accounting personnel in terms of trying to also of the area, for instance, it will not host up constrained number of in terms of administrative costs, and the only mitigation is the accounting function.
Some departments in your ministry, sorry, in your I've seen community development, I've seen social welfare, education.
Are supposed to announce which
we spoke about with Ministry of Education in per household. Action is only touching on sensitizing, but to show that there is more than one beneficiary girl per household. And that is the only way this can be closed down.
Linking programs or the
guys, we're having a challenge. What we want to, even constituencies, someone who bid for the bridge for 200, council 3 guys, engineers, tomorrow is the and may I get can do the work of the ministry. You see, so I think it's high time that you can sit, harmonize,
to improve the consumption on the some